Hotfix 27.2.1 and 27.2.2 are live on PC, and the following are the changes and fixes that occurred throughout both of them. A dud grenade effect on the Kuvabrahma's cluster bombs has been removed. They increase the base status chance on Excalibur's Exalted Blade and Baruch's Desert Wind by 15%. Plus, both Chromatic Blade and Reactive Storm now stack in the same manner other status mods do. Chromatic Blade has had its status chance stat increased to 300%, and Reactive Storm status chance has been increased to 250. The Cernos Prime status chance per projectile stat is now 30%, up from 10%. The self-stagger range on the Shadow has been reduced. And then we have a change that I failed to mention in my 27.2 coverage videos, and that was the addition of a new stat for Mag's Magnetize. This stat has been listed as Magnetic Pull, and it represents Mag's force of gravity that pulls targets towards a central enemy. It scales with power strength, and DE states that it has been added to address enemies that are only affected by the pull for brief moments, or those that ignore it completely. As for the hotfixes, DE reduced the strength for Magnetic Pull to be more balanced with max strength mods. The cloak particles on Wisp were slightly toned down, an unplayable Railjack node was removed alongside an extra copy of the upgrade and mod training page in the codex, and a placeholder beacon mesh on the Sentient tile set. Area of effect weapons have had their radial damage fall-off changed, and radial stats including fall-off and range have been added to the arsenal for these weapons. The Cyanex has a fall-off of 20%, the Kuva Shakur, Astilla, Zuge Prime, Kuva Seer, Stug, Tomb Finger, the Granmu Prism, and the Exiled Scaffold, plus the basic attack for the Staticor, Javeloc, and Scourge have a fall-off of 30%. The Batacor, Ferox, Comorex, Angstrom, Prisma Angstrom, Kastanas, Sancti Kastanas, Shraksung Scaffold, Fard Scaffold, and the Colstar have a fall-off of 40%. The Mutilus, Quanta, Penta, Exceltra, Zar, Phantasma, Pox, Talons, Gratler, Kuvaranga, and all Glaives have a fall-off of 50%. The Opticore and Opticore Vandal, Secura Penta, Cyanoid, Cyanoid Simulor, Shadow, Larkspur, Disic, Scaffold, plus the alternate fires for the Javeloc and Scourge have a fall-off of 60%. The Tonkor, Kuvatonkor, Lens, Icarius, and the proper Scaffold have a fall-off of 70%. The Ogress and Kuva Ogress have a fall-off of 80%, and the Staticor's alternate fire alongside the Corinth and Kuvabrahma remain with a 90% radial damage fall-off. Railjack changes and fixes follow. DE have reduced the brightness on the dome charge effect that fixed a crash when aborting a Railjack mission, clients being able to stack Railjack upgrades by exiting and then re-entering the Railjack configure panel in the dry dock, the Sentient Anomaly Exterminate objective appearing in the UI again after completing it, the Arcwing cannon clipping into the camera view. They fixed a script error related to encountering a cruise ship, an inability to complete the Sentient Anomaly mission due to objectives resetting. They fixed clients piloting the Railjack not seeing enemy damage direction arrows. Railjack battle avionic icons appearing white in mission, and they fixed script errors when dismounting the Arcwing cannon in Railjack when attempting to scrap a selected armament and after scrapping wreckage. DE made optimizations towards improving the launcher's handling of third-party software interfering with content updates. They fixed a crash that would occur in the Silver Grove tiles on Earth if you had particle effect quality on some low settings. They fixed a crash on startup, particularly affecting systems with AMD GPUs. They improved error handling when running out of memory during the launcher cache optimization, and they removed a dozen unnecessary scripts from Necros' cloth. For deferred rendering and HDR fixes were made towards the visuals of the Battle Avionic Void Hole, the Operator Umbra hood appearing overly shiny, an issue with glass flickering. They fixed a crash happening when watching some of the cinematics in the codex with deferred rendering enabled. They fixed display decorations disappearing under certain conditions with deferred rendering enabled, and they fixed missing star chart node lines when HDR is enabled. For the overall game fixes, they fixed a crash when joining an Orb Valis mission in progress while the host was on a K-drive, a crash when dying in Arcwing if you have a damage over time status effect and your Sentinel attempts to revive you, an inability to unveil Rivens if they have a mission complete challenge. They fixed napalm grenades dealing self-damage, multiple impact status effects in a single damage event causing incorrect stagger, the status chance on the Fade showing incorrectly in the Arsenal and Market UI, decorations in the Temple of Honor room in the dojos being shifted, and the decorations should be placed where they were before update 27.2. The Cypher 100 research not granting 3000 clan affinity. They fixed the Arcane Manager upgraded value not counting arcanes that are rank 3 or higher. They fixed becoming permanently invincible in the Simulacrum after toggling invincibility. They fixed the companion invincibility option in the simulacrum resetting if you die or made changes in the arsenal. Happy Zephyr being affected by shield gating. They fixed cases where you could equip 2 of the same operator arcane simultaneously, some unreleased items being chat linkable, erroneous floating floor textures appearing in the Earth Cervantes tileset. They fixed numerous bugs for clients joining hijack missions in progress. They fixed missing arsenal damage numbers for beast companions, the Vaska Kavat lure not moving smoothly, numerous script errors when accessing the fishing HUD, and they fixed a script error when exiting the Chimera Prologue quest, a script error that could occur when opening the Warframe Arcane Manager screen, that could occur during the Supply Sabotage Plains of Eidolon encounter, when trapping a synthesis target in a kinetic siphon trap, when the kinetic siphon trap expires, activating a survival life support capsule, equipping an arc gun, when fighting the Ropalolist, a script error related to bonus stats on equipment and weapons, a script error when viewing boosters in the market, a script error when using a scanner, when dying in a simulacrum, and when entering a dynamic encounter in the Orb Valis. They fixed several harmless script crashes that could occur during a host migration in hijack missions. They fixed an unlocalized rank up button in the Arcane Manager screen. The following weapons not having the new status calculations, those being the Quanta, Quanta Vandal, Convetrix, Phantasma, and Ballistica Prime. They fixed an inability to complete the Warthing quest if you died as the operator due to an unfunctional operator revive screen. Titania's Tribute ability not extracting an offering from an enemy in the form of an ability buff. They fixed missing price details on the detailed purchase screen, an issue with survival missions causing issues past the 10-minute mark when players join in progress. They fixed in-box avionics and arcanes not showing up properly. Titania and Hildren gaining 100% damage reduction while in their airborne forms when equipped with Aviator, Aerodynamic, and Agility Drift. They fixed a crash that could occur in missions with ziplines, a rare script crash that could break your hijack mission if the objective is destroyed at the very last moment before extraction, a 1 to 6 chance your hijack mission would break if you let the objective get destroyed, a script crash that could occur with hijack missions under heavy lag. They fixed numerous harmless script crashes when quitting the game with the Mask of Revenant quest active. They fixed attachment energy colors not properly applying to certain particle systems, lighting issues on the Sovereign Sign Dana. Fixes were made towards pre-processed foliage lighting looking wonky in some cases, servo fish swimming through the air when moving to fish in an adjoining lake in the Orb Valis. They fixed an issue with clashing decorations in the observatory in the dojo. They fixed issue with the moving parts in the Grineer Shipyard tile set, the Arcane Manager screen incorrectly showing you how many max rank arcanes you own. They fixed script errors related to the comm, related to placing a lock pin when attempting to fish in the Orb Valis, when selecting fishing bait, and an error related to using the scanner. Now those were hotfix 27.2.1 and 27.2.2's patch notes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.